A thunderous roar echoed through the Australian outback as a colossal alien ship blotted out the stars, casting an eerie shadow over the quiet town of Gundera. Jack Lawson, a rugged farmer with a military past, looked up from his fields, his heart pounding. He watched in disbelief as energy beams lanced from the sky, obliterating buildings and fiery explosions. "Sarah!" Jack shouted, sprinting towards the farmhouse. His wife, Sarah, met him at the door, her face pale with fear. "They're everywhere, Jack!" she cried, clutching their young daughter, Lily, close. "What do we do?" Jack's mind raced. The Kran, a terrifying alien species, had launched a brutal invasion, targeting isolated communities across Earth. He had heard the rumors, but seeing the destruction firsthand was a different story. "We need to get to the shelter," Jack said, guiding his family towards the hidden bunker beneath their home. "Stay down there. I'll handle this." Sarah nodded, her eyes full of worry. "Be careful." Jack grabbed his old service rifle, a relic from his days in the military, and bolted out the door. The once serene outback was now a battlefield, with Kran soldiers disembarking from their ships, their imposing figures silhouetted against the burning sky. He aimed carefully and fired, taking down one of the invaders. The alien's armor clattered as it fell, but more Kran advanced, their energy weapons wreaking havoc. Jack knew he couldn't hold them off alone. He needed help. Jack's comm device crackled to life. "This is Captain Harris. All available units, report to the eastern perimeter. Captain Harris, this is Jack Lawson in Gundera. We've got Kran on the ground here. Requesting immediate backup." "Copy that, Lawson. Hold tight. Reinforcements are on the way." Jack continued to fire, buying time for his neighbors to flee. The Kran's relentless assault seemed unstoppable, their technology far superior to anything humanity had encountered. Yet, Jack's resolve only hardened. He refused to let these invaders take his home without a fight. Within minutes, a convoy of military vehicles roared into town, led by Captain Harris, a seasoned officer with a no-nonsense demeanor. "Lawson, good to see you alive. What's the situation?" "Total chaos," Jack replied, his voice grim. "We need to push them back." Harris nodded. "We're setting up a defensive perimeter. Stick with us." Together, they coordinated the defense, rallying the townspeople and repelling the Kran with a combination of grit and guerrilla tactics. The invaders, though formidable, had underestimated humanity's resilience. Amidst the chaos, Jack spotted a familiar face. Dr. Maria Chin, a brilliant scientist leading the Resistance's tech division, was directing efforts to decode captured Kran technology. "Maria, what are you doing here?" Jack shouted over the din. "Trying to make sense of their weapons," she replied, her eyes scanning a handheld device. "We need to understand their tech if we have any hope of fighting back." Jack admired her determination. "Any luck?" "Some," Maria said, her brow furrowed in concentration. "But we need more data. If you can capture one of their weapons intact, it would help immensely." "I'll see what I can do," Jack promised. The battle raged on, with Jack and Harris's forces slowly gaining ground. They managed to capture several Kran weapons and, with Maria's expertise, began to decipher their workings. The tide was beginning to turn. As night fell, the invaders retreated, leaving Gundera scarred but not broken. The townspeople emerged from their shelters, a mix of relief and determination etched on their faces. Jack, exhausted but resolute, surveyed the damage. "We did it," Sarah whispered, wrapping her arms around him. "We actually did it." "For now," Jack replied, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "But this is just the beginning. We need to be ready for whatever comes next." Captain Harris approached, his expression somber. "Good work today, Lawson. But we need to stay vigilant. The Kran won't give up easily." Jack nodded. "I know. But we'll be ready." The next morning, Jack and Maria met with Harris to discuss their findings. "We've learned a lot from these weapons," Maria said, her eyes bright with determination. "With a bit more time, we can develop countermeasures." "Good," Harris said. We'll need every advantage we can get. As they strategized, Jack felt a renewed sense of purpose. The Kran might have brought war to Earth, but they had also united humanity in a way he had never thought possible. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, he felt a glimmer of hope. Together, they would stand against the invaders and reclaim their world. As the sun rose over the battered town, Jack looked at his family and friends, knowing they had a long road ahead. But with their combined strength and determination, he believed they could overcome any challenge. They had to. As the sun rose over the smoldering ruins of Gunduru, Jack stood amidst the wreckage, his resolve hardening. The Kran had underestimated humanity's spirit. Beside him, Captain Harris was already barking orders, organizing the remaining townsfolk into a makeshift militia. "We've got to move quickly," Harris said, his voice gruff but steady. "The Kran won't stay away for long. We need to fortify our defenses and prepare for their return." Jack nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. "What about reinforcements? We can't hold them off forever with just the people here." Harris sighed. "I've sent out calls for support. We can expect backup, but it might take time. Meanwhile, we need to make do with what we have." Dr. Maria Chin approached, her face streaked with dirt but her eyes bright with determination. "Jack, I need to talk to you. I think we've made a breakthrough with the Kran technology." Jack followed her to a makeshift lab set up in what used to be the town hall. Pieces of alien equipment were scattered across tables, and a group of scientists and engineers worked frantically, decoding the alien tech. "We've managed to reverse engineer some of their weapons," Maria explained, holding up a sleek, alien rifle. "It wasn't easy, but we now have a better understanding of how their energy systems work. This could give us a fighting chance." Jack took the rifle, feeling its unfamiliar weight. "Can we produce more of these?" "Not yet," Maria admitted. "But we can start training our fighters to use the ones we have. Every bit helps." As they talked, a loud crash echoed from outside. Jack and Maria rushed to the source, finding a group of Kran soldiers attempting to breach the town's perimeter. Harris and his men were already engaging them, but the Kran's superior firepower was evident. Jack raised the alien rifle, aiming carefully before pulling the trigger. A beam of energy shot out, striking a Kran soldier and dropping him instantly. Jack's heart raced. The weapon felt powerful, almost too easy to use. "Keep pushing them back," Harris yelled, his voice cutting through the chaos. The townspeople, now armed with a mix of human and alien weapons, fought with renewed vigor. They used the familiar terrain to their advantage, setting traps and ambushes. The Kran, accustomed to their technological superiority, were unprepared for the guerrilla tactics employed by the desperate defenders. Amidst the fighting, Jack spotted a young woman, barely out of her teens, struggling to reload her weapon. He dashed to her side, covering her with precise shots from his rifle. "What's your name?" he asked, handing her a fresh clip. "Emily," she replied, her hands trembling. "Emily Rodriguez." "Thank you." "Stay close to me, Emily," Jack said. "We'll get through this together." The battle raged on, with the defenders gradually gaining the upper hand. The Kran, unable to adapt to the human tactics, began to fall back. Cheers erupted from the townspeople as the last of the alien invaders retreated into the woods. "Well done, everyone," Harris said, his voice carrying a rare note of pride. "We've shown them we're not to be underestimated." Jack turned to Maria, who was examining one of the fallen Kran. "What do we do now?" he asked. "We need to stay on the offensive," Maria replied, her eyes alight with a fierce determination. "We've proven we can fight back, but we need to take the fight to them. We can't wait for them to regroup and attack again." Jack nodded. "Agreed. What's our next move?" Maria looked thoughtful. "There's a Kran outpost not far from here. If we can strike there, we might be able to capture more of their technology and learn more about their plans." Harris stepped forward. "It's risky, but it might be our best shot. Jack, can I count on you to lead the mission?" Jack met his gaze with unwavering resolve. "You can count on me." As the group began to make plans, the tension in the air was palpable. They were about to embark on a mission that could change the course of the war. Failure was not an option. Later that night, as Jack prepared for the mission, he found a quiet moment with Sarah and Lily. "Stay safe," Sarah whispered, her eyes filled with worry. "I will," Jack promised, holding her close. "I'll come back to you. I swear it." With a final kiss, he turned and joined the others, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The spark of resistance had been lit, and there was no turning back now. They would fight, they would endure, and they would reclaim their world from the invaders. The dense foliage of the Amazon rainforest provided a canopy of shadows as Jack Lawson led his team deeper into the jungle. Every step was silent, every breath measured. The Kran outpost lay ahead, and with it, the hope of a significant victory for humanity. Jack glanced back at his team. Captain Harris, ever vigilant, scanned the surroundings, while Emily Rodriguez, now a seasoned fighter, moved with a quiet confidence. Dr. Maria Chin, their invaluable scientist, kept close, her eyes sharp behind her glasses. "We're close," Maria whispered, checking her device. "The outpost should be just over that ridge." Jack nodded. "Stay alert. We take them by surprise, disable their defenses, and get out fast." As they crept up the ridge, the site of the Kran outpost came into view. Alien structures, sleek and ominous, stood amidst the greenery, guarded by Kran soldiers. Jack motioned for his team to spread out and take positions. "On my signal," Jack whispered into his comm. "Wait for it, now!" Chaos erupted as the humans launched their assault. Emily took out a guard with a precise shot, while Harris led a flanking maneuver, drawing fire away from the main force. Jack and Maria sprinted towards the central structure, intent on disabling the outpost's power source. Inside, the alien architecture was both fascinating and disorienting. Luminescent panels lined the walls, casting an eerie glow. Jack kept his weapon ready, moving swiftly but cautiously. Maria followed, her focus unwavering. "There!" Maria pointed to a pulsating core at the center of the room. "That's their power source. We need to overload it." Jack nodded, covering her as she set to work. The tension was palpable, each second feeling like an eternity. Outside, the sounds of battle raged on, a constant reminder of the stakes. "Got it!" Maria exclaimed, stepping back as the core began to spark and shudder. "Time to go!" Jack yelled, ushering her out as the core's destabilization triggered alarms throughout the outpost. They regrouped with Harris and Emily, who had successfully neutralized the perimeter guards. "Let's move!" Harris ordered, leading the retreat. As they fled, the outpost erupted in a fiery explosion, the shockwave knocking them off their feet. Jack scrambled up, helping Maria to her feet. "Everyone okay?" "We're good," Emily confirmed, dusting herself off. "Let's get out of here before reinforcements arrive." Back at their base camp, the mood was one of cautious optimism. The successful raid had provided valuable intel and a much-needed morale boost. Jack gathered his team for a debriefing. "Today was a major win," he began, looking around at the determined faces. "We've shown that we can hit the Kran where it hurts. But we can't get complacent. They will retaliate." "What's our next move?" Emily asked, her eyes alight with determination. "We need to consolidate our gains," Maria suggested. "The intel we gathered from the outpost can help us develop better countermeasures and plan future strikes." Harris nodded in agreement. "We also need to strengthen our defenses. The Kran won't take this loss lightly." As they strategized, a young scout burst into the tent, breathless. "Sir, we have incoming! Kran ships are heading this way." The announcement sent a jolt of adrenaline through the group. Jack stood up, his face set in grim determination. "Prepare for an attack. Everyone to your positions!" The camp erupted into organized chaos as fighters armed themselves and took up defensive positions. Jack and Harris coordinated the defense, positioning snipers and setting traps along the anticipated approach routes. The sky darkened as the Kran ships descended, their ominous hum growing louder. The first wave of enemy soldiers landed, met with a fierce barrage of human firepower. Explosions lit up the night, and the air was filled with the sounds of battle. Amidst the chaos, Jack found himself face to face with the Cran warrior, its eyes glowing with malevolence. The alien lunged, but Jack's reflexes were quicker. He parried the attack and fired, the energy blast hitting the Cran square in the chest. "Stay focused!" Jack shouted, rallying his fighters. "We can do this!" Maria, working from a makeshift command center, monitored the battle's progress. "Jack, we need to take out their command ship. It's coordinating their attacks." "On it," Jack replied, signaling to Emily and Harris. Together, they made a daring push towards the alien ship, dodging enemy fire and leaping over obstacles. As they approached, Jack spotted a weak point in the ship's armor. "There! Aim for that spot!" Emily lined up her shot, and with a precise blast, the command ship's hull ruptured, causing it to lose control and crash spectacularly. The Cran, disoriented and leaderless, began to retreat. Cheers erupted from the human defenders as the last of the invaders fled into the night. Exhausted but exhilarated, Jack regrouped with his team. "We did it," he said, a smile breaking through his grim facade. "We actually did it." Maria approached, her face glowing with pride. "This is just the beginning, Jack. We've shown them what we're capable of. Now we take the fight to them." Jack nodded, looking out over the battlefield. The tide had turned, and with it, the hope of reclaiming their world burned brighter than ever. Jack Lawson stood at the edge of the Terra Corps stealth ship's hatch, peering down at the alien landscape of the Cran homeworld. The crimson sky and jagged mountains were both breathtaking and foreboding. This was it, the final mission. The thought of Sarah and Lily back on Earth spurred him forward. They were the reason he fought. "Ready, Jack?" Captain Harris's voice crackled through the comms, filled with the usual steely resolve. "Let's end this," Jack replied, stepping off the hatch and descending with his team. Their objective was clear: infiltrate the Cran Central Command Center and dismantle their leadership from within. The team moved swiftly through the alien terrain, guided by Dr. Maria Chen's holographic map. "We need to stay undetected until we're inside," Maria whispered, her voice tense but focused. As they approached the perimeter, Jack noticed a patrol of Cran soldiers. "Hold," he signaled. The team froze, blending into the shadows. The soldiers passed, oblivious to their presence. "Go," Jack whispered, and they slipped through a breach in the defense grid. The Central Command Center loomed ahead, a massive, pulsating structure emitting an eerie glow. Inside, the corridors were labyrinthine, lined with alien symbols and technology. "This way," Maria directed, her eyes never leaving the map. The tension was palpable, each step echoing in the silence. They reached the core chamber, where the heart of the Cran's operations resided. "Harris, Emily, secure the entrance." "Maria, you're with me," Jack ordered. They moved into the chamber, where a towering control unit stood, guarded by a handful of elite Cran warriors. "Take them out quietly," Jack instructed. Emily, now an expert sniper, took position and fired, her shots deadly accurate. The guards fell silently, clearing their path. Maria approached the control unit, her hands deftly working to access the system. "I've got it. Just need a few minutes," she murmured. Suddenly, alarms blared. "We've been detected!" Harris shouted from the entrance. "They're coming in hot!" Jack gritted his teeth. "Maria, hurry!" The first wave of Cran soldiers stormed in, met with fierce resistance from Harris and Emily. The battle was intense, energy beams and gunfire lighting up the chamber. Jack fought alongside them, his focus unwavering. "Almost there," Maria called out, her voice a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. "Just a little longer!" A massive Cran commander entered, his presence imposing. He charged at Jack, their battle ferocious. Jack dodged and countered, every move calculated. "You won't win," the Cran growled in its guttural language. "We'll see about that," Jack retorted, delivering a final, decisive blow. The commander fell, and the tide of the battle shifted. "Got it!" Maria exclaimed. The control unit began to overload, sparks flying. "We need to get out of here!" The team made a desperate dash for the exit, pursued by the remaining Cran. The building shuddered as explosions rippled through it. They emerged into the open, the ground shaking beneath their feet. "To the extraction point!" Harris ordered. They ran through the chaotic landscape, the destruction of the command center sending shockwaves through the Cran forces. As they reached the extraction point, their stealth ship descended, hatch open. "Go, go, go!" Jack urged, helping everyone aboard. The ship took off just as a massive explosion consumed the command center, the shockwave pushing them upward. Inside, the team collapsed, exhausted but triumphant. "We did it!" Maria panted, her face alight with relief. Harris clapped Jack on the shoulder. "Hell of a job, Lawson!" Jack nodded, a weary smile on his face. "It's not over yet. We need to ensure this treaty holds." Back on Earth, the news of their victory spread quickly. The destruction of the Cran Command Center had shattered their chain of command, forcing them into negotiations. Representatives from both sides gathered to sign the treaty, marking the end of the war. Jack stood beside Maria and Harris, watching as the treaty was signed. The weight of their accomplishment settled in, a mix of relief and pride swelling within him. As the ceremony concluded, Jack found Sarah and Lily waiting for him. He scooped Lily into his arms, holding Sarah close. "We did it," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You did it," Sarah corrected, her eyes shining. "You brought us peace." In the aftermath, humanity and the Cran began to rebuild, transforming their conflict into cooperation. Jack's journey from a simple farmer to a war hero had reshaped the galaxy's future. As he looked up at the stars, Jack knew their fight had not been in vain. They had proven that even against the greatest odds, humanity's spirit could not be extinguished. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, it was filled with hope.